Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. So, I was watching a bit more of I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here 2021. I don't know if I will have a link for this one, but it was interesting what they were saying where they'd gone back. Everyone was in the same camp now, so the haves and the have-nots were in the same camp. And they were saying how, well, this is how it should be. You know, they understood it was part of the game and how happy they were that they were all together and there was no division. And how this is how it should be. Well, it's interesting that they had that thought, but if you look at that in the world, you know, because they were feeling that they were suffering because they didn't have anything and because the game was against them. Well, that's happening in life all the time when it comes to people of colour not being being treated in the same way as. I've got to be careful because of YouTube. You talk about these things, they ban you, even though what I'm trying to say is that it's not fair. The system is against certain people, and that's not only to do with colour, it's to do with lots of different things, and division of countries. You know, there's lots of the have-nots in I'm a Celeb are the same as the have-nots in the world, the countries that are poor, that are divided from the countries that have. How nice it would be for us all to be together. It's interesting that all of them felt that because they felt that have-notness. But will they then bring that into the real world and see that the real world is the same situation where the system, the game, isn't equal for everyone and there's people suffering, but just as much as those celebrities didn't like to suffer themselves, what about the people that are suffering every single day of starvation, of not having a home, of living in a way that we now know how to live better? Why aren't we sharing that information? Why aren't we making this planet easy for everyone so everyone can have an equal life? So yeah, that's what I just wanted to talk about. And I was looking at this, I didn't really scratch too much on that World Life Expectancy calculator, which is, I'll put the link below, because there's lots of different figures here. This is just for this month. So I told you already, cardiovascular was 1 million, cancer is 500,000, respiratory is 270,000, flu is 43,000. I don't know if that counts COVID. Diabetes 76,000, digestive 137,000, maternal 35,000, AIDS 136,000, diarrheal 145,000, TB 98,000, malaria 59,000, hepatitis 10,000, traffic accidents 85,000 this month, traffic accidents, falls 28,000, drowning 26,000, poisonings 23,000, fires 20,000, suicide 56,000. 56,000 people committed suicide. Violence 40,000, war 12,000. I don't know how they get that figure, but I know these aren't actual figures. These are calculations based on, I think it's UN data, based on many years. There's another one as well. There was worldometer.inf. That tells you that the current population is nearly 8 billion people. This year there's been 126 million births, and there's been 52 million deaths this year. 52 million this year. So we nearly got a full year, isn't it? Because we're up to December. So imagine, in the world scheme of things, 2 million people have died. Well, that's over 2 years. This year, how many people have died of COVID worldwide? Is it about 1 million? Let's say 1 million. And in total, 52 million people have died. So what did the other 51 million people die of? What other things could we... That's what I was trying to say yesterday, is that, yeah, it's great that we're endeavouring to try and fix COVID, but what about all the other things that are going on all the time? The 51 million people that may be dying, that there could be something to stop that. Because, like I say, the problem is the system and money and all those kind of things will always get in the way of solving these problems for humanity. Until they realise that, it's not going to get done, is it? I don't know what other things there's on this one. There was 4 million forests lost this year, since there's in hectares. 32, is that billion? CO2 emissions this year, that's in tonnes. So a lot. Food. There is, so there's this 856 million unnourished people in the world. Imagine that figure. The thing is, we see these stories, individuals, situations that are happening, but I guess media can never cover those kinds of numbers to hit that down. But it's interesting how with COVID it has been done. There is a way to show how many people have got COVID. But look, nearly 1 billion people are unnourished in the world. On a place that we live upon that has enough food. I believe the calculation was for, is it 10 times the amount of people that we have at least. There's enough food everywhere here. We have means of that, and we have means of transportation. There's no reason for anyone to be unnourished based on the system that we have of being able to transport food around the world, the amount of food being there. The reason why it's happening is because we accept the divisions that we've created, i.e. land spaces, and calling it names, and us having this illusionary pride to a name and a culture, as opposed to humanity and each other. There's 1 billion people overweight, nearly 800 million obese in the world. 10,000 people died of hunger today. 10,000 people today died of hunger. How many people died of COVID? In the UK it's 200. Roughly, approximately. In the world, I don't know how many people. There was nearly 800,000 deaths caused by water-related diseases this year. That's another preventable death. 800,000 people could have been prevented from dying because we know how to clean water since the Romans, to irrigate. Why are we letting these things happen? The thing is, this isn't on the news. If they treated these things like they did with COVID, put these figures up every single day, so we see these people dying, these people getting affected, maybe we would then want something to be done about that. Or why isn't that being done? Why are those people in power who have this immense power, these royals, these presidents, these premiers, these prime ministers, they don't care about all these things, these unnecessary deaths? Because we want to keep to a system, we want to keep to the hierarchy of position, of illusion, of money, of structure that is not working. There was nearly 1 billion people with no access to safe drinking water. There was 445,000 seasonal flu deaths this year. There were 6 million deaths of children under 5 this year. There were 38 million abortions this year. There were 43 million HIV/AIDS infected people this year. There were 278,000 deaths of mothers during birth this year. 7 million people died of cancer this year. 354,000 died of malaria. That 5 billion cigarettes smoked today. Nearly 5 million deaths caused by smoking this year. 2 million deaths caused by alcohol. It says here nearly 964,000 suicides this year. I don't know if it's the same, the other one. 1 million road traffic fatalities this year. All these stats that are being collected. Yeah, I know these are calculations rather than the actual stats. But imagine what could be done if these things were on the news all the time, and that then we could put pressure on the people that are meant to be governing humanity, meant to be safeguarding us all. That's the whole reason we have this, is because it's meant to be the best system to look after us all, but it's failing. So when do we want to admit that? Or we're just not going to admit it, and we're just carry on letting these millions of people suffer and die every single day. Is that right? I don't get it. That all this information is there. Unfortunately, it's not on the media. It's only when they get an interest of it, and then it comes on there. Well, share this, and maybe then they'll be forced to get it on there, or make your own video detailing this stuff, because because it has to. But we can't keep accepting this. We're lucky because we're not feeling it. If we were feeling it, maybe we would want to do something more about it, or we knew someone who was. Same as when that I'm a Celebrity. They felt it and they wanted to not feel it. And how it affected them. Imagine these people, their one existence, your one existence, and it is just suffering after suffering and unnecessary death. What kind of humanity is this? And why do you think it's not our problem? Just because we live in a little bit of a land and we're all okay, Jack? It is our problem. Because at the end of the day, the only universal truth about everything, the one thing that isn't illusionary or man-made concept, is that we are each brothers and sisters of each other. We are human beings, and that is what connects us. And nothing should divide us. Take care, take it easy, God bless. Peace.